Good morning. This week I have to tell you was the first week that I have actually cried over missing out on a Vinted purchase, and I thought for that reason it would be appropriate to do a little bit of a Vinted-like navigation episode. I'm going to share with you some of my Vinted likes. I did miss out on something yesterday that did bring me to tears. For that reason, I am now going to share with you my Vinted likes. Once I share them with other people, I am so scared that other people will buy them that I end up buying them all myself, which often ends up with me just accumulating a pile of clothes that I don't actually really need or want. I just simply wanted to stop other people having them. This is basically an exercise in me deciding whether I really genuinely like something or not. I will force myself to tell you because that is what makes me make the decision in my mind whether I really want something or not.
Oh. That's it, I'm not going.
A couple of days ago, I liked a handbag on Vinted and it was £30 and I thought, secondhand, faux leather, handbag on Vinted, £30. For me, personally, things I buy on Vinted should cost no more than £15, unless it's shoes. Actually, is the only exception. But if it's an item of clothing or any kind of accessory, £15 is about my limit. So I looked at this bag and thought, oh my goodness, gorgeous. Looked at the price and thought £30, that's way out of my budget. And that night found myself dreaming about that bag. So in the morning, awoken by the chattering of birds, I went back to Vinted to try and buy it, only to find out it had been sold. It is embarrassing the amount of emotion I felt towards this bag. To all the real fashion girls out there, I'm sure you will understand, because this bag was absolutely gorgeous. And in the grand scheme of things, for something that should bring me to tears, £30 is not a lot of money. I definitely regret that purchase, and this is why I'm making this video right now for you. Do feel free to try and buy all the things in this video. I'll try and share with you some good brands that I like. Things before I begin that I've bought most recently are my cinchback Levi engineered twisted jeans. They are currently my most precious piece of clothing that I own, as is every newest piece of clothing that I buy, to be honest. So let's see how my opinions change when I buy something else. But yes, I have bought my cinchback Levi engineered jeans, a Reebok coat, 2 pairs of Birkenstocks, Vibram 5 fingers. But now, shall we begin looking through my Vinted likes? If you are new to this channel, I have a very strong sense of personal style, I think. I know what I like, and whenever I deviate from that, I get very upset. Everything in my wardrobe does look the same, and whenever I buy something new, it is normally just an upgraded version of something I already own. I own this jumper, this exact jumper, in 2 different colours, and V-neck jumpers in general, I own 2 navy blue ones as well. Everything I own is very similar and very to my style. I do not buy things out of my comfort zone. I do not see the point in buying things for the sake of them being outside my comfort zone. You know what, in fact, what I will do in this video is I'll probably just give some discourse on Vinted and on likes in general, and then just display the likes over here, maybe. There are a lot of bags at the moment because the item that I missed out on was a gorgeous handbag. Getting emotional here. Other things on my Vinted at the moment are bubble skirts. I think in the past I've actually said that I don't really like bubble skirts. However, something changed my mind this week. I saw Jordan Teresa in one of her stories. She does OOTD stories, and in one of her OOTDs, I saw her wearing a little lilac bubble skirt, and it was the most fantastic thing I've ever seen. I then started looking through Vinted for a bubble skirt. Lots of boots on here. The boots that I like at the moment, I would really like to wear some boots with a skirt. I'm really liking longish sort of calf length below knee boots with a skirt. And I think this will be great for spring in the hotter weather, but not quite hot weather, because I like that combination. But the boots that I don't like cowboy boots. I don't like fry boots because I like the boot to touch my skin. I don't like them when they're flapping around my calves. The boots that I'm looking at the moment are all round toe, close to the calf, skinny fitting, if you know what I mean. The brand in particular that I'm looking at the moment is Fly London. I, in the near future, will be buying a pair of boots, maybe. I don't know. Lots of jackets, lots of zip-up fleeces. I love a zip-up fleece. I love a sports jacket, lots of Umbro, lots of Adidas. Some of my favourite things right there. Sports jackets, coats, windbreakers, particularly with a drawstring at the bottom, because I like pulling that drawstring and tucking them under. I would never buy anything cropped, heaven forbid. I like vintage items, not just because because they're slightly more unique and secondhand, but because back in those days they weren't so quick to crop absolutely everything. With the drawstring, I can kind of choose the length I like, and I like that. Lots of skirts, lots of jackets, lots of bags. Some pea coats actually as well I have on here. I do really like a pea coat, however I don't think that they're really my style is the only thing, so I do want one because I just absolutely adore them. I think they're the sweetest thing ever, and I do actually have a short sleeved one, but it's so ginormous that I have to wear it over top of a jumper, and I'm not quite sure if that's the look I'm going for. So actually stay tuned on my Vinted because I might sell that. They'll be like old label Topshop or old label Primark, but still absolutely gorgeous, and I fear sharing them with you. Lots of quarter zips. I love a quarter zip fleece, a quarter zip knit. Enjoy both of them very much. Oh, another one I've been looking for is interesting Uggs. I found that the footwear I like most is round-toed footwear. I love a Birkenstock, I love an Ugg, I love a boot with a round toe. That is what I go for predominantly now. I need to keep that in mind also when I'm buying a new pair of trainers, because I have also been looking at black trainers. Honestly, the conclusion that I've come to is that I just need to buy another pair of the ones that I got that don't have holes in, because the ones that I've got, they get my feet wet. They get my feet wet when it rains. They get stones in through the bottom of the sole because they have holes in. So really I just need another pair of the same thing because I do actually really like them. They're the Reebok Club C black. Another thing I've been looking for is a trench coat. I have a trench coat and I absolutely adore that trench coat. I want another one in a different colour. My current one I have in this like beige light cream colour, and I want another one in like a dark grey or like a dark khaki colour. That's what I've been looking for. Oh, actually, on here I have saved, unpopular opinion, I am really drawn to, at the moment, the Fila Destroyers. Are they called Destroyers? Destructors? Hang on, let me have a closer look. Fila trainer. The Destructors, I'm sure they're called Destructors or Destroyers or something like that. And everyone hates them. I really want a pair of black Fila Destroyers. I don't know what they're called. If you go right down in the archives, really try and find some things that I forgot about. Lots of jeans. There's so many jeans on here, and I've bought so many jeans as well, which I'm now going to get rid of because I found my dream pair, so I don't need them all now. So do come along to my shop and buy from me because I do actually have some really nice Levi jeans. Dungarees, as ever, of course there are. I actually went through a phase, which is quite interesting, so I've gone quite down in the archives here. I went through a phase of liking really feminine, girly. This was kind of in my pea coat, really wanting a pea coat phase. I went through a phase of really liking cardigans and button cardigans, little pea coats and things like that. And it's not really my historical style, but looking at them now, I wonder why it's not. There are a couple in here that I think, oh my goodness, I simply must get that. Oh, I don't even know if I can share them with you because they're so gorgeous. You know what? I will share them with you, but you may find that they will be sold if you try and find them on Vinted. And just know that was me. Gorgeous dresses as well. I wouldn't be wearing them. I would simply have them in my wardrobe to look at. And don't come at me for that because there are many of you I know that own Jellycats, and what are they if not to look at? I just like looking at clothing. You know, it's actually funny to look through it because it reaffirms my personal style, definitely, because literally everything is the same. For the summer, I really want a hat. I really want another hat. I have 2 bucket hats that I'm actually a bit sick of now. If you don't know me, I'm an avid hat enjoyer, and I do wear a hat frequently when I go outside. I want another bucket hat. Particularly, I like Surf brand bucket hats. Are my favourite. Hopefully, I've given you some brands and inspiration here. Just know that you're very lucky to be in on the secrets. Just a short little video today, I thought. A bit of a break from the maths classes whilst I prepare my next video, which I did ask you on my Instagram what you wanted, and you said warm weather clothing. I'm preparing that. I already have some bullet points prepared already, so do stay tuned for that. But just while we're waiting for that, I thought it would be nice to give you a little bit of a Vinted deep dive. Oh gosh. Getting so excited, the veins are popping out on my neck. I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of a nosy. Everyone loves a little bit of a nosy. It's like going around someone's house that you don't know and just poking through their cabinets and wardrobes and stuff like that, isn't it? Anyway, see you very soon.